All right. So now, like I said, we're going to be doing quite a lot today. So I'm going to skip down to basic Git commands, right? Because I want everybody to understand all of these Git commands. So in our last class, we talked about quite a number of Git commands, but we did not mention some we should not mention other Git commands. So we didn't talk about other important commands like Git branch. We didn't talk about Git checkout. We did not talk about Git pull. We didn't talk about merge. We did talk about clone. So I think everybody should understand clone. We understand clone. Talk about clone. So now this is what I want everybody to like focus on. So we're going to be focusing on Git branch, Git checkout, and Git pull and Git merge. I don't really think we need to talk about Git merge that much, but we'll talk about Git pull, Git checkout, and Git branch a lot with this project that we want to work on. Now, but what is Git branch? When we talk about branches, right? I think I explained what branches is in our last. I explained Git branch. I did, right? I explained Git branch. Now, but let me explain it again. I'll use my phone again to explain it. So when we talk about branches in Git, we're basically talking about features. So what do I mean by features? So I'm saying, okay, in my Facebook app now, I want to have a lot of features. Okay, home page, welcome page, profile page. All of those things are what they are all connected to one big project as well as branches. You understand? They are connected to one big project as well as your branch. Now, all of these things here, they are known as your branches, but they are all connected to the main source code. They are connected to the main source code here as well as the main branch. That's how you need to like visualize each project. So you have one project. Out of this project, you now have other branches. So the main project is Facebook. Homepage is now a branch of what Facebook. It's not a branch feature. Okay, so branches are saying, okay, you're going to have features in that particular project because that is how it's actually going to be. If you are going to be working on a web application, it has to scale. What do I mean? It has to scale. It's not just enough. Now, I want you to take your mind of maybe what you've seen is portfolio website. I want to take your mind off portfolio website. Portfolio website is like the basic form of a web application. That's landing page. Very, very basic. Move on to something much more bigger. Something like, okay, a big project like an e-commerce, right? The one that you're working on, is it neighborhood reporting? I don't know what I think I saw your messages from, so I'll be able to join. But I don't know what you're working on yet. But think of those things as like a bigger project. So, like for instance, there's an application that I worked on last year that okay, basically what it does is it just recommends health tips for you. You log in your features, log in whatever it is you're having issues with, and it's going to recommend health fitness tips for you. Although it does not replace, the treatment of the doctor. Just probably tells you to hydrate, sleep better, all of this. That's health tips. That's an application. Now, but for you to build something like that, it has to scale. It has to have several features for things like that to happen. Now, those features are like your what branches, but they all come together to form one application. That's what I want you to understand. Now, how exactly do you work with a branch? So let me just explain it. So basically, what branches are what? Branches are not different features, but rather independent lines of development. Now, what this means basically is saying that what they are all what makes up your application. It can be different features, not just let us put I shall put just there. They're not just different features, but they can also be what independent things that forms your application and makes your application come together. You understand right now? So now let me just open up my VS Code and let's start working on something. So we have this fitness app right here. I don't know why it's still loading. My network. What network? So let's open up a new folder and let us call it uh, I think I've done this before, so we'll call it fitness project. No, do you know what? Don't open any folder. I'm going to open up my folder here, and then I'm going to add everybody as a collaborator on this project. So whatever you're going to be working on, you are pushing it to one code base. That's my own repository. That's how you collaborate. You have one code base. So do not worry about opening anything on your own system yet. Just keep it like that. So I want to try and see if maybe I have to like switch to my network. Okay, so now I've opened up this fitness project here, waiting for. All right, so we're able to open it up now. So I'm just going to do something. Okay, let's just work on it. Now let's try to work with something like this. Now what you have here, this is not a CSS or HTML class, so I might not take more time to explain this. I already gave us the hint, so I hope everybody understands that. So now, looking at this design now, you have the header, right? As always, you have to look at how it is arranged. Now, if you notice something, you have a yellow color in this place, which is definitely going to give you a lot of problems, issues. So what you need to do is that, first of all, everything has to be in 1D, which is what your header. Everything has to be in header, right? Now, in this header, you now have two separate sections. The one to the left and the one to the right. The one to the left has all of this thing here. The one to the right has this. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing here. I'm going to say header. Okay. So header. And in the header, I have two. I'm just going to go ahead and give it a T. I'm going to call this in the class of left. And I'm going to give this a class of right. So class of left and class of right. So now, the one on the left, let's check it out. Has all of these things. Now I'm just going to go ahead and do this and this then, so that we'll have enough time for whatever we want. Now this is a logo, of course. This is a logo that I think we should be able to export. I think we should know how to export now. So I'm just going to go ahead and you have a question. Yes. Mm. It has to be in the right. I said we're going to have left. This is not a CFS class. Again, right and left. The one on the left is going to have all of this here. The one on, I know you have a lot of questions. That's why I just pointed it out, not the CFS class, so that I do not give you the expo that I'm not supposed to give you for your project. So I want everybody to just go ahead and try to figure it out. So I already gave us the basic what's the name? the expo already that I think everybody needs. So all I just need everybody to do is just try and understand why. So let me just let me just explain. So if you see this one, this is a yellow background, right? You cannot expect that. Okay, there is no how you want to split your background. One side yellow, one side. There's no how you want to split. Maybe there is a way, but I don't know the way. The only way that you can do something like this is to first of all put this on the left, put this on the right. You understand it now? So if you do that, you can now okay. After that, you can now just remove the margin that's here so that there's not going to be space between this one and this one. Then you can put this joint now straight to the left. Like it works that way. That's even the best way to do things like this. But I don't know any other way apart from it. So you can just still go ahead and think of it. Like I said, there are different ways to do different. Don't move this thing. Okay. So there are different ways to do the same thing. You understand? So all right, let us move on. So like I said, I'm going to work only on this first part. Then I'll also try and work on this drawing now to just make it be on the right hand side. All right. So right and the extract here. Okay, good. So now we have access to it. So I'm just going to drag and drop it into. So I'm going to create a new folder and I'm going to name it assets. Assets. Taking time. All right, so added the logo into the assets. Now I'm going to look at the direction again. Like I said, you have one to the left, you have one to the right. Now in this case, you have two separate things, logo and link. I'm going to go ahead and create the logo and links. So I'm just going to take dot logo. It's not it's not recommending anything. Let me just type it manually. So let's do the class name of logo. Duplicate it again. This one is going to be linked. Now this logo is going to you're going to have your image. You're going to have SRC. Okay, so within the logo now, Then the next one is the links. So let's try it out. So I'm going to write, how many links do we have? I think we should have about 5 links: home, program, bios, plans, and testimonials. Let's try it out. So we're going to be using our anchor tag. It's right. Okay. All right. Let me get this 5 times. Home, program, bios, plans. Okay. So let's say program, bios, plans, and testimonial. Yeah. Sorry. I didn't write the home. Oh. It's not supposed to be here. It's supposed to be here. Okay. All right. So now the next one should be the one on the right now, right? So that's going to be join now. So I was going to have a button right here. But let me see it's a div. So I'm going to say dot btn. Why is it not? I don't know why it's not giving me btn. And let us say join now. So this is what I'm going to have. So all right, good. So we've been able to do that. Now moving on, we have to work on the CSS also. Now the CSS, I'm just going to split my screen just to know what we want. So for the HTML, we're going to have header, right, dot left. So the one on the left is going to be a display of flex, right? Align items of center, flex direction. Okay, we don't need flex direction again. To justify content of space between, space between, yeah. Now let's check what we have out. Let's see. Let me go live. Let me see what we have. All right. So we should have something. Okay. Good. Yes. Perfect for now. It's perfect. Don't worry. It's perfect. So we have this, and then we have to change the background color also. So I'm just going to go ahead and change the background color. I think this should be the background color of every single thing there. So it has to be the body because everything in the body is affected as that background. You know, say body, background color of this. Then we're going to give it a margin of 0 just to remove the default margin, a margin of 0. Now, if you check it out, now we should have a good. So now we have that background color. Now, what I'm not going to do is now is that I want to put this join out to this place, right? So that everything comes together. So now for me to do that, I'd have to like still give the whole header a display of flex. I'm going to say the header should have a display of flex, right? So, and then we're going to have align items of center for everything to centralize. Then also it justified content of space. So let us check what we have out. Let's see. So now exactly that's what we have. So space between, but I do not like the fact that this is here. Now let me remove this space between and let me see. Let's see what we have. Let us change this from flex to grid. I think flex. Yes, let's change from flex to grid. So let's say grid template column. Repeat. Is it really repeating? Not repeating. One FR, one FR. Not repeating. So, yeah, so this works. This would have worked. Honestly, this would have worked. Okay, actually, it's going to work. I'm coming. Let's put a div here. Let us see. Okay, so now let us try the one to the right now. Header dot right. And let us give it a display of flex. Display of flex. Align items of center. Then a justified content. No, yeah, justified content. So this, I'm going to remove this. Then let's see what we get. It works. No, space building is better. Let us give the whole a margin, no, a padding rather, padding of like 2 rem. And let us check it out. Okay, good. So now we have that little padding on the left here. Now the next thing that we have to do now is we need to give this place the what's the name? The background color, right? Which is this. So let me see if I can. I think I can get it. So this is it. So the one on the right is going to have a background color of background color of ash. This. Now let us check. Let's check it out. So okay. Uh, okay, you know what? Here's the grid. Let's do it another way. So no, not even that. What I'm saying, why I said we should do it another way is because what we're not going to do now is huh? Yes, yes. Uh, so yes, very low. So let's give it the I. Let me increase the I here. This is what I'm doing is manipulation that is not supposed to even happen. But let me just give it 90 VH. So after that, it should come down a little bit. It's not coming down. All right, let me try something else. Let's give it a diet of 90 VH. So I 90 VH. Let's see. Sorry? Yeah, it's the grid actually. It's the grid. And the reason why I used the grid here, you know what? I'll have to try it again. I have to use flex instead. Display of flex. So flex direction, of course, you have let's say align items of center. This should work, but this is the problem I have. Okay, so apart from that problem now, this is so the other way that I'm thinking of now is that we just put everything in the same heap, then we increase the height of that particular last one, which is also still possible. So I'm just going to go ahead and change my structure again from the beginning. So let me remove this. Let me remove it. Let's put everything in the same deep. So now we have everything in the header, right? Now in the header, we have the logo. That's the first one. We have the links. I don't even think I need to remove this. We have the links, right? And then we also need to have the button, which is this join now. So I'm just going to take this join now button and place it right here. We don't need this right again. Now let us try that. Now the header is not going to be display of flex, align items of center. Yeah, so I think this is what we want. So if you check it out now, we should have display of flex, align items of center. Why is it not working? Oh, sorry. So display of flex, align items of center, and then we have this join now. Now for the join now, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing that I wanted to do before. It's going to be dot btn background color. So let's give it a background color. I'm going to increase the color now. So this should be it. Okay. Now let's check it out. Let's see what we have. Okay. Okay, good. Now let us try and increase. Let me try and increase the height of this space. I'm going to say height of 100. Let's say 90 VH. And let me see what I have. I just hope it doesn't bring down what I have done. That's a problem. That's another problem now. So there's another way. We are previewing it, right? So I'm just going to export this sidebar. I'm coming. Let me export the sidebar and let me check if this works. So this is not no advisable for me to do something like this. But let me try it out. So we have it's not advisable honestly because if I do this, there's a okay. So we are going to do what we can do. to get what we want. Let's use this image here. Then images, sorry, assets rather, assets forward slash, and we're gonna have, is this sidebar? All right, good. Now I'm going to remove this first of all. Okay, so let's see what we have. Now what we have is a very long bar, very, very good. So we have this long bar here. Then that same long bar that we have there, let me just call it background. I'm just gonna say BG. Give it an ID of background. So the ID of background is not going to have, it's going to be a position of absolute. Let's see what we have. Position of absolute. Let's take it to the top. I'm going to take it to the top. Okay, it's back to the top. I think. So let's take it to the top. Let's give it the top of one pixel, and let's see what we have. All right, I think it's up now. Is it? Let me look at it well. It's at the top now, Abby. Good. Now let us give it a left or a right. Take it away from the right. Right of let's give it 50 pixels, and let's see what we have now. It's too much. Let's give it right of 20 pixels instead, and let's see what we have. Did it work? I don't think it worked. Let's say 10 pixels. Okay. 5. Let's give it 1. Good. So it's working. Now there is a problem, which is first of all, if I'm scrolling, it just keeps scrolling. Now I need to like cut it short a little bit. Then I don't think that's what is on the design. What's on the design is something around here, right? So I have to bring it away from the top. So bring it away from the top. I'm going to say 2 pixels, right? Let's give 5 pixels away from the top, and let's see what we have. 5 pixels. If it has 50 pixels away from the top. Good. Is that it? Good. So now let us. After that, now there's one more problem. Our drawing now is not showing. We need to make it show. So for it to show, I'm just going to go ahead and give it a z-index of -1. I'll give this a z-index of -1. So I think I explained z-index to before, and we have drawing now showing. So I think this 50 pixels is too much. So I'm going to give it 40 instead. It still grow up a little. Yeah. So this makes more sense. It makes more sense. Now, and there's another problem here. We need to reduce the height. So I'm going to reduce the height of the background color here, and I'm going to call it height of let's give it height of 60 VH. And let's see what we have. Oh, let's give it 90. It might affect it depending on. I think this even looks more like what we're looking for. I've been seeing only me. Okay, it's the, you know what? This is how we will know. The height here is what, 1040 pixels. The width here is what, 483. So I'm just going to increase the width 483. So I'm going to say width of like 500. Width of 500 pixels. Okay, I think it's working. I think it's working. It's working. 500. Let's give it 400 instead. Too much. Let's give it 400 instead. Now, this is why I don't like. It's going to work. It's going to work. But I think it works better. It works finer. So this is how you can do something like this by manipulating. The way I did it, I would not advise us to do something like that. Why? Let me show us why. You click on this mobile icon now. Yeah, it's looking like what we wanted, Abby. Just what happens when we change it to the mobile view. Now, when you now change it to the mobile view, design now becomes much more complicated. So instead of you to just tweak small things, right, you now start having to build again from the beginning and do a lot of more complex work on the design. And if you keep doing, if you keep writing bad code, what happens? You see, no, it's not something that you want to mess. Although on the mobile, I think there should be a better design. This yellow stuff should not be on the mobile because mobile is not does not really accommodate such designs. So there's definitely like a different view. What I'm just saying is that you should not just don't do like me. What I just did here. What I just did here was, I just patch it. Eh? The thing is that if it's not because of this class now, if we just probably sit down with it for like 10 minutes, we definitely get out of it. That's the problem. If you have 10, I'm not even joking. If you have 10 minutes to do it, you definitely get. It's not hard. I've done it before, so I'm just trying to like remember what I did because what I did then was that I have one on the left, one on the right. But I do not understand why this is giving me this issue now. All right, but let us leave that. Let's leave it. So to be able to get this, I still think it is not well aligned. Let's try 350. So it's not well aligned for me. Okay, I think it's aligned now, so we can just leave it like this. Now, let's say I've been able to get this. How then do we now go ahead to like collaborate? So for instance, let's say Miss Favor now wants to work on putting this image, which she's going to do. So she's going to work on putting this image. Let's just even share it now. Miss Favor, I want you to work on putting this image on this background here. It's easy, it's not hard, right? So I think you'll be the next person. Mr. Kelvin, after Miss Favor, you go next. So probably just work on this part. Or let's work on this part. Then Mr. John, you will try and work on this one that is here. This join now. Okay, you were not here for the last Git class. And you still try. Don't worry. So everybody will just try and work on something. Okay, so now how then do we now go ahead to like collaborate with other people on similar projects? Now the first thing that you need to do is first of all open up your repository, the repository that you want to use. Now this is the repository that I want to use for it, which is fitness projects. I have not connected it yet, and that's intentional. I have not connected it yet. So now, how exactly are we going to get something like this? So the first thing I need to do is first of all initialize an empty Git repository in your project with what Git in it. Now, after doing that, it's going to tell you initialize empty Git blah 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 in this place. So then I'm going to do my Git add to add all my files to my staging area so that I can now prep them to be saved. Now, as I've added it, it is Git add. Now, as I've added, it's going to change from U to what A, from that's on stage to an added, and then I'm going to say Git commit. Now, in this Git commit, I'm just going to use work on the header, right? So now, as you have seen, I've been able to commit it. Now, the next thing is that I want to create a master branch where all of my code were, that's the main base, the main branch. You understand that all the other branches are going to come out from. So I'm going to say git branch dash capital M, not small m. I'm going to call it master. So as you have seen, I've created a master branch. And then if I go ahead now and connect it to my remote origin, I should be able to connect my local repository and my online repository together. Now they've been connected. All I have to do is do git push. So I'm going to come here, Control C, and I'm going to do git push. Okay, that was a mistake. It was master, not main. So as you can see, it's going to push it to GitHub now. Just give it a little time. So as you can see now, I've been able to push it to GitHub. So if I refresh this place, it's going to give me the file that I just pushed to GitHub. So now, do you understand this? I think we did this in our last class, so we can't. Okay, moving on to the next part. How then do we now have collaborators on a project? That's what I'm going to talk about. Okay, that's what I'm going to talk about very soon. But before then, I think this process I wanted to do, I'll just give everybody as an assignment. So everybody's going to be a collaborator on this project. Then just do what you can do, then push it together. But before you push, I'm going to like try and review what you've done. So let me go ahead and still talk about Git branch, explain all of these things before you start working on anything. Now, sorry. Now I said when we talk about branches, right? When we talk about branches, we're talking about creating separate features, right? And not just features, probably creating separate versions of your project. You understand? That is basically what Git branch is all about. Now, in this case, now we've worked on the master branch. And what did you do on the master branch? What did you do on the master? Is everybody still on the call? Please, can you just check it out? So, what did you do on the master branch? What we did on the master branch is that we basically worked on the header structure, right? That was what we did on the master branch. Now, in this case, now we don't just want to work on the header structure again. We want to now move to placing this picture, right? This image that is here on that particular background. So how do we do it? You can just go ahead and start, writing that. But what if placing that image on that particular background destroys your application? Now, I want you to think about it as something very much complex, rather than just a normal design. You can be working on a feature that requires you to write some logic. What if that logic disrupts your whole application? That's what you have to create a separate branch for each of those logic or each of those features, so that you do not spoil the whole application. You understand it now? So now what I'm going to do now is we're going to create a separate branch for that image on the on the design. Create a separate one, work on it, and after that we'll push it together and merge it together. So let us go ahead and do that now, so that everybody can see how things like that are done. So a moment. All right, so now we have this. So let us go ahead and try it. So what am I saying? What we want to do now is we want to work on a new feature, and that feature is basically placing this image on that background. So how are we going to do that? So first of all, I'm going to export this image, which I have already done, and then I'm going to add it to my VS Code. So I'm going to open file and add it to my VS Code, my code base rather. Okay, so now this particular image that is here, I do not. One thing that you don't want to do is that you don't want to place it in any of those things, right? So what I'm just going to do is that outside of this, right, I'm going to place it in. I'm going to say dot hero image img. Then I'm going to add that image. Oh, sorry, that's a mistake. That was a mistake. So what I am saying is, the reason I say it's a mistake is because we need to create a separate branch. And how do you create a separate branch? Now, you saw me do something before. I said git branch -m master. What this means is that I'm creating a master branch, but I'm naming that master branch the main branch. Like that's like the main branch where other branches are going to come out. That's why it's -m. Now, in this case now, I need to create another branch, but this branch is not going to be the main branch, right? It's just going to be like a subsidiary of what? Of the master. So now, how are we going to do something like that? So I cannot say, it's still the same way, but you're not going to use what? The dash m. I'm going to say git branch, right? Now, instead of saying dash m, I can just go ahead and write the name of the branch that I want to create. Now, in this case, I'm just going to call this branch hero image, or hero, let's just say hero section, right? Sorry? It was better, but I already created it. So if I say git branch now, you're going to see two branches. The first branch is not going to be what? Master. Second one is going to be what? Hero section. So I can, as you can see, there's this star on this master that says that, okay, I'm still on the master branch. If you want to start working on the hero branch now, you have to switch to the master, to the hero branch. So how do we switch? Use the git command known as what? Git checkout. So I'm going to say git checkout hero section. So now it's going to tell me I've switched to the hero section. So if I say git branch now and I click enter, you're now going to see it switching from what? The master to the hero section. Yeah.
I'm going to collaborate now. I want to work on this.
You have to create your own branch. You cannot, one thing is that you cannot work on the master. Everybody, now if the master is where your main code base is, it is very, very important that no developer at all should ever work on the master. You have to work on a separate branch. Like maybe you can create your own branch, create branches for features, or just create a separate. You should never work on the master. And the reason is because you don't want to edit anything on the master. The master is meant to just be there, then merge codes from where? Branches. It's not like saying that you don't eat fruit from inside the tree. You eat fruit from there, the branches. So the branches are actually what you need to work on. Then the master is now what's taking everything inside from the branches. So that's why you never, after today, you never see me working on the master again. Right? Because the master is not meant to be worked on. Any mistake on the master can destroy your code, can destroy your project. Years of work, months of work, can destroy. You should not. So if you have access to any code base, create a branch and start working on that branch, not the master. All right. So now we are now on the hero section. Let me switch to like a more better command line so that we can use this. So I can see the branch that I'm working on directly. So now I'm using git bash. Now as you can see, the branch I'm working on was a hero section. Now let us get started with building on this hero section. Like I said, we need to include what? We need to include this image there on this place. So I'm going to go ahead and just put it outside. I'm going to say dot hero image. Right, then I'm going to have an image here. Now this image is going to have assets / then we're going to have hero image. Good. Now if you check it out now, we should have the hero image here. Now it's still going to be showing in development, of course. It's always going to show in development, right? But one thing is that this particular master branch no longer has access to the code that you're writing. So you need to first of all create a branch for that one, push it, then merge it to the master branch, which we'll get to. But for now, we have what the hero image right here. But because we put it inside of the header, as you can see, it's disfiguring a lot of things. So one thing that we have to do is that we have to change this hero image to a what? An absolute image. I'm going to say dot hero image img. I'm going to give it a position of absolute. Now, after giving a position of absolute, it becomes very. Can you see my screen online?
Yes.
Okay. After giving a position of absolute, as you can see, it returns all of these things back to their normal position. So all that's left right now is for me to just continue working on only the image. So first of all, I need to make this image smaller. a width of 300 pixels. So give me the width of 300 pixels.
Yeah.
Okay, give me the width of 300 pixels. If you check it out now, your width should reduce. Did it reduce? No, it didn't. Okay, let me give it 200 pixels instead. So let's see what we have. Why is my width not reducing? All right, let me first of all take it down. So I'm going to say top of 50 pixels. I need to bring it down a little bit. Oh, okay. So the reason why the width did not reduce is because it needs to be affecting the image, right? So instead of this hero image, I'm going to say I'm going to add img to it. So I'm going to add the width also. It should reduce. So can you see now that the width has actually reduced? So let me try and share my screen again. As you can see, the image right here is now much more, but when we from the right back to the left. So how do we do that? You're going to give it a right. I'm going to say right of about, let's give it right of 30 pixels. So let's see what we have now. Yeah, so now it's moving right of 30 pixels. Let's give it 50 pixels again, and let's see what we have. It's not, no. Okay, let's give it 80 pixels instead. Let's see what we have. I don't think it's moving again. It moved, okay. Let's give it 100. Okay, it's moving. Let's give 150 just for it to. Okay, I think it's moving. So let's give it 200. 250. Now let us check the design itself. What do we have? I think this was look like the design. Okay, I think it's bigger in the design. So I'm going to increase the width to like 300. Yes, this is exactly how it's going to be. Now we're going to drop it down a little bit to like 80 pixels. So top 80 pixels. Okay, let's give it top of 100. I think it should be okay. Now let us check it out. So this should, yeah, it looks like it. It looks more like it, but now this joint now is not a problem for this joint now used to be here, but now it's here. So let us try and find out. If I remove this hero image now, okay, now I know what's wrong with the joint now. So what's going to happen is I need to remove that image from the header totally. So now it's not going to affect it again. So let us reduce the right to like 230, and let's see what we have. Let's try 200. Okay, so I don't know. Does I think it fits now? Yeah, so it still needs to come down a little bit. So I'm going to say a top of 130, Let's see what we are good. So now I think this is how it looks like. So we've been able to like get this this design. We've been able to get it. And now what now happens? How exactly are we now going to make it uh, merge with our master branch? That is another question I need to get. Now, the first thing that you need to do is that after making any changes or any editor, you see that okay, your features are working. You need to commit it on that particular branch. What do I mean by commit? Put it on that Git folder, the local Git folder on that particular branch. So how do you do it? The same way, I can say git add, then git commit dash m. Then I'm going to give it. I'm going to give it what's the, what anybody with any message hero image. So let's say picture. I don't know. I'm actually lost of ideas now. Who can help me? What did you work on just now? Updated hero image. Now, as you can see, I've been able to commit it, but there's not a problem. You know, I said something about local and online. Whatever you have locally, you need to have it online on your repository so that they can connect. Now you have master branch locally, but before I could push, she's telling me that she set upstream, right? That means I have to create master branch on the repository. The same thing with this hero section. Hero section is only available where locally, but it's not available online, right? So if I say git push now, it's going to tell me that there is no branch as what hero section on your repository. So I need to first of all set the option, right, and create like an origin to where on GitHub. Now if I set this and I put it right here, now as you can see, it is now going to create this hero section branch on GitHub for me. So let us just wait for it. Now as you can see, it has pushed. So if you come right here now and you refresh, it's going to tell you that what another branch is expecting you to pull from. Let us wait for it, and then you're going to see what happens here. Don't tell us there's a pull request now. I think it's just okay. Still pushing, it's not done yet. Okay, good. So now it's done. Now let us check what happens now. Let me refresh and let's see what happens. Now can you see that? It's telling you that okay, you have hero section and you just pushed something 36 seconds. So what he wants me to do is compare and now he wants me to merge that hero section into the word master. So, but first of all, I need to first of all check it out to see if these codes are actually what harmful or good to my project. So if I click on compare now, what happens? I'm going to now check what happens, what I have just done. So it's going to tell me, okay, this was what they worked on, this was what this person did. So let me create a pull request and let's see if it is safe to merge. So now it is going to tell me, show me everything that I worked on in a particular commit. So let us wait for it to. Okay, we are not actually working on CSS now, Mr. Isosa. So it's just on Git. We are only focused on Git for today's class. So we are not really bothered about those ones. So it is checking for the ability to merge. So what it's saying is that it's checking if there are conflicts. There's a lot of things that we have to talk about in Git, but I'll talk about them step by step. But for now, do we understand this? It's something we understand. I was. Is this something everybody understands? Or it is not clear? Eh? Deleted file. Okay. Everybody will take 15 minutes. No, 15 is much. Take 5 minutes. Refresh. I'll pause the recording here. We'll come back again and we'll do something. Just refresh. Eh? That 15 is too much. Let's just take 5 minutes. Then we'll come back and then we'll refresh and see how it goes.